Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to create a brand board, and I'm going to simplify the process of creating or compiling all of the visual elements of your brand. So I'm Sarah and I help empower creatives and entrepreneurs with simple tools that they need to create a successful business. If that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, then please subscribe to my channel and like this video and drop me a comment, let me know what you think. So in the previous video I went through how to create a simple logo for free, and I will link that video in the description, so you can, if you haven't seen it yet, then please have a look at that. This video follows on from that in that it looks at all of the aesthetics of your brand, such as your colours and the typography that you're using, and it compiles all of those elements into a document called a brand board. Now, I have created this video with non-designers in mind, so you don't need to have any sort of graphic design background to be able to create the simple visuals for your brand. Although if you do enjoy designing online, then this is a really good way of creating things like brand templates that you could use to sell online for you in your shop or on Etsy. So let's have a look.
So to create this brand board, I'm going to be using Canva. You can create these in other design programs, although I'm using Canva for this video tutorial because it's easier for non-designers to follow along with. So I did create earlier on today a brand board, which I'm going to use and recreate this to show you the process that I've used to find all of the visual elements that make up this sort of brand aesthetic. So we have the logos, the colours, fonts, and the images that I've picked out as sort of a mood board inspiration behind all of the different elements here. So as you can see, the logo that I'm using is from my previous video. If you want to watch this, excuse me, to learn how to create simple logos that are original to you, then please find the link in the description box to that video, which I will post. So to start pulling, first thing we need to do is go to create a design at the top, and then we're going to select an A4 document. I'll just wait for that to load. So to start pulling all of the brand elements together, you need to work out your brand's personality and values, who's your target audience, what responses would your brand elicit within them, so sort of emotional triggers. So for example, if you had a business that was to do with like camping or gardening, you might have a sort of earthy colours. And then obviously you would create a mood board to reflect this. So in this demonstration, I'm going to gather images to reflect the brand as a starting point. So the brand I've chosen, and it's obviously not a real brand, is an arts and crafts business. So this invokes images of sort of, for me, it's sort of paints and pastels and pretty stationery, and it's kind of one of my addictions. So I've gone with a kind of fun, if you have to sort of show you here, kind of fun and feminine, obviously depending on the market audience. Right, so let's gather some images. So first of all, I'm going to bring up the margins, and I am going to go to elements, and I'm going to find a frame first of all to place my images in. Let's have a look. So click on frames, and I'm just going to find a nice rectangle frame or rectangular shaped frame. And I want one without a border if possible. That one's fine. So I'm going to move it into the margin. I mean, you don't have to use the margins, it's just I'm a little bit particular like that. I'm just going to copy and paste. I think on my brand board that I did earlier, I found 5 images that sort of conveyed the sort of aesthetics that I wanted. So there's a few places that I go to find royalty-free images. So one of them is within Canva. So if you go down here to photos, you can type in like pastels, or you could type in crafts, whatever images your brand invokes, and you can find all of the images here. Now these ones with a little crown on are the Canva Pro elements or Canva Pro photos. So you would need Canva Pro to be able to use that. You have to pay for it, but all of the others are free. But a few places I like are, one of them is Unsplash, which I'm going to go to now. The other places that have really, really good images, royalty-free images, are Pixabay and Pexels. So they're quite good websites as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to search for pastels and see what comes up. So see if I can find. See, this is one of the ones I used in my previous brand board, which I'm going to use for this demonstration, because it has some nice sort of, pinks, sort of aqua, sort of blues. So if you click on your chosen image, you can actually scroll through, and it brings up images that are very similar, so similar colors, similar themes. So it's a really good way. That's quite a nice one. It's a really good way of finding sort of similar color schemes. So what I'm going to do here, when you sort of find an image that you like, you can click on the plus button and you can actually create a new collection. So I'm going to call this brand board pastels, and I'm going to make it private. I mean, you don't have to. Other people can sort of see it if you don't, but it's up to you. And I'm going to click on there. And there was another one underneath as well. I'm going to nab. What is it? Brand board pastels. So as you see, you just add all these ones in, and you can just scroll through, find some, some nice images that you want to add to your, that sort of give that feeling of your brand, and how it would look, how it would, like this one here. I think I use this one too. Now I've already downloaded those, so I'll show you how to download them. But to download them, let me just go back. I do apologise. To go back into your collection, you just go into your account. You do need an account to sort of add a collection. You would just literally click or hover over the image, and there's a little download button here, and you just download that. I'll show you now, and you can go back to your Canva, and you literally just drag it in, and it does it all for you. So I've already done this earlier just to save a little bit of time. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a chesty frog in my throat, so I'm just literally going to drag these into the frames that I've created earlier. Did have another one in the middle, so once I've got them all in, there was another one that I used from Canva. I think it was this one. So these are the images that I've sort of picked. Now, if you want to rearrange your images in the frames, you can just double click on it and just reposition it like so. But those are the images that I've gone with. Sorry, I do apologise. I don't know where this cough's come from. So I like to find the colours first before I do the text or any sort of fonts, because I find that if I choose the colours, it helps me sort of match the mood and style once I've got the colours down. So to pick the colours, I'm going to go back to the elements and come out of frames. I'm just going to go into lines and shapes. I'm just going to grab a shape. It could be a square, circle, whatever sort of floats your boat. And I think for this, I picked 5 colours. So I'm just going to copy and paste this 5 times. I'm going to highlight it all and just reposition it like so. So in Canva, the best way I found to find your colours from your images is to click on one of the shapes, go into the top where it says colour, and as you can see, all of your images, you'll see all, and it will bring up all of those nice colours from your images. So I'm going to pick my main colour, So a few things to keep in mind when choosing colours for your brand is, I didn't actually, normally I found a colour wheel. I'll just explain it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to go in, find a colour wheel, have a look. So it's not an exact science, but say you have the colour wheel here. So colours that are sort of near each other on the colour wheel work really well together. So if you had, for example, red as your main colour, you could sort of pick nice warm oranges, pinks, yellows. They would sort of work together really well. And likewise, opposing or the colours are opposite each other on the colour wheel, they're complementary colours. So things like sort of your blues would work really well with sort of yellows. It doesn't have to be exactly opposite. It can be sort of slightly almost opposite, but they work really well together. And also, if you pick red as a main colour, you could have different shades and tones within that colour, which would work really well as well. I always try to pick one main colour and a couple of 3 or 4 secondary colours. As long as you've got at least sort of 1 or 2 secondary colours for sort of accents and things, and then also some neutral colours which you would use for things like text. So for this one, I'm going to pick a nice sort of pink, pastel pink as my main colour, and then I went for a sort of a nice blue. I'm not keen on that blue. I think it's a little bit too bright. I might have to tone that down a bit, and then a nice sort of pastel yellow and sort of a neutral grey, and then sort of a lighter pink. Now I'm just going to mess about with these colours a little bit. It's that one. I'm not keen on that one. So to sort of adjust the colour, you can just click into the colour, and then just where this cross is, you can sort of adjust it slightly. And this yellow is a little bit lighter. That's fine. So I'm actually not keen on that grey either. Let's have a look. I'm just going to. So these are the sort of colours that I've gone for, which kind of match those images, which you can see if I just pull that down. So it's nice sort of fresh pastel colours, a nice sort of really feminine feel. So once I've got the colours down, then I go and look at the text, the fonts that I'm going to use for my brand. Now, with this being, quite a sort of fun, I guess not childlike, but it's quite a fun, young sort of feeling about it. You could go for your main font. You could have a nice cursive or playful font. But what I've decided when I did my brand board here is I wanted to sort of, give it a little bit of a more grown up feel. So I've gone for a nice sort of simple sans serif. But the font I've chosen isn't, it's still kind of loose. It's a bit looser than sort of your Times, Roman or something like that. So I'm going to add these in here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this one across from the previous brand board I did, because it saves a bit of time. You don't want to sit here and watch me type through the alphabet. So I went for Play Fair Display for my main font. So I've just pasted that in here, and I've done all of the letters, the alphabet from A to Z in uppercase, lowercase, and then all your numbers from 1 to 0, and that's sort of the header font or main font. And then I've just copied and pasted that across. Now, when you're matching fonts, things to be aware of is, to try to avoid as much discord as possible. I think I mentioned this when we was doing the logos. So avoid using too many fonts. So 2 to 3 fonts, I would say, is a maximum that you need for your brand. If I wanted to, I could add a nice sort of display cursive font just for accents here and there. But, any more than that, I would say just avoid it. Avoid similar classifications. So things like if you was going to choose sort of a decorative font, I would avoid choosing another decorative font. I would go for something very simple to pair with it, so it's not too messy. Also, avoid, let me just think. So fonts within the same typeface work well. So if I was going to use Playfair Display as a main font, I could use the same typeface in a different weight or a different size, different point size. So those sort of things. Now, what I found as well is pairing sort of a serif, which is this one here, serif font, with a sans serif font works really well. So I've gone for a really simple but quite modern sans serif, and I've chosen Montserrat for the pairing here. So rather than me type all that out, I'm going to copy it across just to save you time in watching me do that. I'm just going to center that here. It's a little bit messy, so I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit. So I'm just going to make it, as you can see, it's all sort of starting to take shape. I'm just going to make it look a bit prettier. So I'm going to add a line. I'm actually going to add some text as well. So I'm going to center that. I'm going to write mood board inspiration. I'm actually going to make that smaller. I'm going to give it some space. Put that in the middle. What I did, I added some sort of simple lines just to give it a little bit of a separation between the sections around the corners of the line. And I'm just going to move that up with my arrow keys on my keyboard and copy and paste it. And as you can see, that sort of separates the sections out nicely. And then I'm just going to copy this. Font. And move the line across. And I'm just going to center this a bit more so it's tidier. And then all of your colours. Now with the colours, I'm also going to add the hex numbers. So the hex numbers are the numbers which note the RGB properties of that colour. So if you were going to use your logo in a different program, you can just bring up the hex number and it'll bring up the exact same colour in any program that you use, or on, for example, on a website, if you were going to do a website. You could also add the Pantone colours as well if you wanted, which is for print, but I'm not going to do that in this demonstration because I don't have the time. So I'm just going to add the hex colour here. To find the hex number, you just click on the actual shape, click on here, and the number is right there. There we go. I'm just going to make this bigger because you can't really see it. And I'm going to center it underneath. I'm just going to copy this across just to save time. There we go. And so I'm going to click on this one and again bring up the hex number, copy, paste, and I'm going to do the same thing with all of the other colours. And it's really, really simple and quick. To copy and paste, I've just used the Command and C to copy, and Command and V, or Control and V if you're on a PC, to paste. So there's all the hex numbers for your fonts. I'm just going to move that up. I'm going to copy this and then paste it here. So that's colours. And then I'm going to put my logo on there, and the logo I'm just going to paste it across from here. Now, as you can see, the logo that we did and again I've just put the headers, the same headers that I've got here. I've got main logo and alternative logo. So this was a logo here that we did last week, or in the last video, and I'm just going to make these smaller actually, just so they don't look too overpowering. So what I've done is I've just taken off the decorative sort of background. Now this logo is perfect if you just sort of circle, it fits into a square, so it's perfect for things like icons for social media, or anywhere else that you might use it. But if you was going to use this as sort of a header on your website, it wouldn't really work because it would be too big. Or for example, business cards, letterheads. I've actually just taken the decorative bit out, just taken out the text, and I've just added that as an alternative logo. So you've got the different options there. So that's the completed brand board. What I'm going to do, I'll go through, because I know some of you here wanted to, or maybe watching this because you want to sell these as templates, sort of brand templates. You might have a group of different brands that you might want to sell as a template in your shop. So to do that, I would definitely rename it. So you would rename it something like brand board pastels, or whatever brand it's talking about. And then you would go to share, and then you would literally go to template link, and it would bring up a link. You copy that, and then you would paste that into, I always use another document. I do have a Canvas share document. I'll just pull it up if I can find it, which I did in another video, and I will link that as well below. I did it here for an example business, and you would literally pick up, is it not doing it? Oh, here we go. So you would embed your link into another document. So you've got your link here, and you would then, that's the template link, and then you would then download that as a PDF standard, and then you would upload that for your customer to then, when they purchase your template, they would get that as a download. They would click on here, and it would take them to your brand boards, or your selection of brand boards, however you want to do it. So I will add that Canvas share template in the description as well, and I will save this as a template, so you can actually grab this for free in my Gumroad shop. So obviously, if you wanted to create templates, it's a really good way of creating a passive income stream. And again, if you want to download this brand board that I've created for free, I'll upload it to Gumroad, and you can download it and use it as a bit of a starting point. And I'll just zoom out so you can see that's the completed brand board that I've done. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye bye.